Well, as we count down closer to Batman Caped Crusader, the team over at Amazon and DC have revealed more details about the upcoming show. The other day, we found out about Nocturna, Firebug, and Gentleman Ghost, and now we've gotten more footage and the voice actors for 2 more villains, Clayface and Onomatopoeia. Let's take a couple minutes to break down both villains, check out the footage, and find out who will be bringing these characters to life. Now, the upcoming Batman Caped Crusader series has everybody pretty excited. It seems pretty popular on this channel, and I know a lot of you are really looking forward to the show. Now, we found out early on this is going to be sort of a new take on Batman, set in the 1940s, with many of his villains being fully reimagined for this new era. Now, 2 of the villains that are coming to life in this series are Clayface and Onomatopoeia, and both villains are, well, a bit of a different take. Now, Clayface was a staple in Batman the Animated Series, but this is definitely a different version of the character, and Onomatopoeia is a relatively unknown villain in Batman mythos, and something fans I think are pretty excited about. So let's start off with Clayface. Now, as many of you know, this isn't the post-crisis version of the character. This is the original Golden Age, Basil Karlo. Basil Karlo in the comics is a B-list actor who basically is driven insane when he hears that a remake of a horror film he starred in would be shot without him taking up the part, leading to him becoming somewhat of a serial killer. Now, in the comics, just like in the show, he wears this kind of mask, and the mask itself is very much a version of the Phantom of the Opera, and gives the character one heck of a sinister look. Now, in the preview, we get a little bit of an idea of how the character will manifest in the show, and it does fit this sort of dynamic perfectly. When I found out they were taking the show back to this era, quite honestly, I was really curious on what they were going to do with this particular character, and I am really glad that they decided to bring him to life in this way. Now, I will say, in the footage, he does appear to be, well, disfigured, and this does lead me to believe we might be getting some kind of weird hybrid, but I definitely don't expect a full-on made-of-clay shapeshifter for the show, but we should keep our eyes peeled. Now, we know Clayface is going to be voiced by Dan Donahue. Now, Dan Donahue is probably most famous as the voice of the High Confessor Aztectus in Fallout 4, but he was also a big part of For All Mankind, Damnation, and Longmire, so he's a pretty well-established actor and voice actor. Now, the other character we got a bit of a preview of was Onomatopoeia, and if you're unfamiliar with this character, that's perfectly okay. Now, Onomatopoeia was originally a Green Arrow villain, but it's got a long history with Batman. And as far as abilities go, he's sort of unique, being a master marksman, an absolute superb athlete, martial artist, and weapon expert, along with being very smart, very good with a gun, and somewhat of enhanced durability. Now, one of the things that makes the character a little bit different, though, is he kind of narrates everything with sound effects that are actually words. When he punches somebody, he says pow. When he breaks something, he says crack. And it gives him, well, somewhat of a sinister take on the whole world. Now, it's unknown whether he is a metahuman, but for many people, it's pretty clear he's enhanced in some way or another. The Green Arrow actually shot him 6 times and he didn't die in the comics, and he has been known to survive direct explosions and fire that would kill normal people. So at this point, it's kind of hard to tell how, quote, super this supervillain will be in the series. Now, Onomatopoeia will be voiced by Reed Scott. Reed Scott is probably best known for playing the role of Brando Dorft on the TBS comedy My Boys, but he was also a big part of HBO's Veep and played Gordon Ford in The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Now, we are 5 days away from Batman the Caped Crusader, and this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con, meaning many people are going to get their first look at the show. I highly suspect we're going to get some great feedback, and the fact that they're throwing in some of these oddball Batman villains, like the original Clayface or Onomatopoeia, well, it gives me some hope for the show, because it means we're in for something new, and not just a rehash of what we're really used to. Obviously, most of us are pretty excited for the new Batman series. I am curious on which villain you are looking forward to the most. Make sure you sound off in the comments below, and while you're doing that, check out all our merch. It definitely helps the channel. Peace.